Honey, I'm not coming home tonight. I'm going out with friends. On the phone, Sophia's voice carried a deliberately cool tone. In the background came the sound of a man's laughter and clinking glasses. My hand holding the phone trembled slightly, not from anger, but from familiarity. I answered this call. 3 years ago today, Sophia called me like that. In my previous life, I foolishly worried about whether she wanted me to pick her up, only to be met with her impatient refusal and a hang-up. Then I waited at home the whole night. She didn't come back until noon the next day, her clothes wrinkled and suspicious red marks on her neck. I was reborn. I've been reborn to 3 years ago, the first year of my marriage to Sophia. In my last life, I humbled myself for this woman for a full 10 years. From the time she began hinting, vaguely, that other men were pursuing her, to later brazenly staying out all night, and finally to the point where she brought that man home and announced she wanted a divorce. I begged her desperately like a clown, knelt and pleaded for her not to leave, even agreeing to walk away with nothing. But she still left, taking the company I had painstakingly built over 10 years and all the assets, and eloped with that pretty boy 5 years younger than me. I stood on the rooftop all night, and in the end chose to jump. I never expected heaven would give me a chance to start over. Ethan, can you hear me? Sophia's voice pulled me back to reality. I looked at the version of myself in the mirror who seemed 10 years younger, a cold smile curling at the corner of my mouth. I heard you. My voice was so calm, I surprised even myself. Sophia, let's get a divorce. There was complete silence on the other end of the line for a full 5 seconds. You. What did you say? Sophia's voice was clearly panicked. Ethan, are you overworked? Why would you say something like that? I'm wide awake. I walked to the balcony and looked down at the busy street below. Tomorrow I'll hire a lawyer. Think about the division of assets. Ethan, are you crazy? I just went out with a friend, and you want a divorce over that. Sophia's voice shot up 8 degrees, completely losing the coldness from a moment ago. Friends? In my previous life, I checked. That friend was called Liam, 5 years younger than me, a third-rate model living off a few rich women. Sophia was one of his benefactors. It's not because of tonight. It's because we're not right for each other. I said very calmly, Sophia, we're both adults. There's no need to torture each other. Ethan, listen to me. I was really just eating with friends. There was nothing more. I hung up the phone immediately. In my previous life, I heard countless similar explanations from her. Every time I chose to believe, every time I told myself to be tolerant, to understand. But in this life, I don't want to be that fool anymore. The phone rang again soon after. Without looking, I switched it off. I walked to the study, turned on the computer, and began searching for divorce lawyers. In my last life, Sophia was able to take all my assets largely because I was unguarded and all the property was marital. But this time is different. I know what she'll do, and I can prepare in advance. Just then, the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Sophia standing outside, her face still flushed from the alcohol, but her eyes unusually clear. She really came back. In the previous life, she did the same. Whenever I showed a bit of dissatisfaction or suspicion, she would immediately come back to soothe me, making me feel I was being overly sensitive. I took a deep breath and opened the door. Honey, I'm back. Sophia threw herself into my arms, carrying the mixed scent of alcohol and perfume. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have talked to you like that. Her acting was still so good. Her eyes were reddened, making her look pitiful. You said you wouldn't come back? I didn't hold her. Instead, I gently pushed her away. Sophia froze for a moment, then looked at me even more wronged. How could I not come home? This is our home. Honey, are you still angry? I'm not angry. I turned and walked toward the living room. I said, let's get a divorce. Ethan. Sophia hurried up and grabbed my arm. What on earth is wrong with you? We've only been married a year, and you're asking for a divorce? Is there another woman? Her voice trembled, and tears fell. If it were me in my previous life, I would have softened long ago, held her, apologized, and promised never to bring up divorce again. But now I only felt disgust. This woman actually pretended for 3 years to test my love for her. 3 years. For a full 3 years, she tortured me in this way, making me suffer in pain and doubt. There isn't any other woman. I looked at her. Sophia, don't you think there's something wrong between us? You're coming home later and later. You don't want to communicate with me as much, and your attitude toward me on the phone has grown colder and colder. I just have a lot of work pressure. I'm in a bad mood, So, because you're in a bad mood, you take it out on me? You deliberately make me worry? I cut her off. Sophia, I'm tired. She widened her eyes and looked at me as if she were meeting me for the first time. Yes, in my previous life, I would never have spoken to her like this. No matter how she treated me, I would have chosen to endure and forgive. Honey, can we please talk properly? Sophia pulled my hand. I promise I won't do this anymore. I'll come home earlier, and I'll speak to you properly. I withdrew my hand. Sophia, some things can't be solved with an apology. The trust between us has already been fractured. What trust? What don't you trust me about? Her voice began to tremble again. I looked at her delicate face and remembered what she said the last life when she brought Liam home. Ethan, I never loved you. I was acting for those 10 years. Did you really think I would fall in love with a man like you? I don't trust your attitude toward this marriage, I said. Sophia, if you truly feel unhappy with me, then let's separate. There's no need to torture each other. She suddenly fell silent, a flicker of an emotion I couldn't read crossing her eyes. Ethan, you've changed, she murmured. You weren't like this before. People change. I turned and walked toward the bedroom. You can sleep in the guest room tonight. Let's both calm down. Sophia's sobs came from behind me, but I didn't look back. In my last life, I looked back countless times. Each time her tears softened me, and in the end, I got even deeper hurt. This time, I won't make the same mistakes again. The next morning when I woke up, Sophia was already gone. On the table was the breakfast she had made and a note. Honey, I'm off to work. Can we talk about last night tonight? I love you. I looked at the words, I love you, and felt only irony. In my previous life, she often left me notes like that too. Each time I would be moved, thinking that although she was sometimes willful, she still loved me. I only now realized this was part of her performance. I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Lawyer David, it's me, Ethan. David was my college classmate and now works at the city's best law firm, specializing in divorce cases. In the last life, we rarely kept in touch after graduation, but this time I needed his help. Ethan? What made you think to call me? David's voice was surprised. Is something wrong? I want a divorce, and I need you to handle it for me. I stated my purpose directly. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the line. You and Sophia? Haven't you only been married a year? Precisely because it's only been a year, it's better for everyone to separate sooner rather than later, I said. Attorney David, I want this dealt with as quickly as possible. Ethan, divorce isn't a trivial matter. Are you sure you've thought this through? David's voice grew serious. Why don't you try living apart for a while or marriage counseling first? I've already thought it through. I looked at the sunlight outside the window. Can I come to your place this afternoon? Of course. 3 p.m, I'll wait for you at the office. After hanging up, I began to organize my list of assets. Although my current company is not large, its growth momentum is very strong. Following the trajectory from my previous life, it will experience explosive growth in 2 years. Sophia should know this too, which is why she chose to divorce then and take half the assets. But in this life, I will make sure she gets nothing. I opened the safe and took out all the important documents, property deeds, equity certificates, bank deposit statements. I need to ensure each asset has a clear proof of source. Just then, Sophia called. Honey, are you home? Her voice sounded very gentle, nothing like the panic from last night. Yes. Can I come back at noon to cook for you? I took half a day off. I remembered the previous life. She was the same. Every time we fought, she would act especially gentle and virtuous, making me feel like I was being petty. No, it's fine. I'll eat out. I declined her offer. Honey. Sophia's voice turned plaintive. Are you still mad at me? I really know I was wrong. I'm not angry. I just think we need to calm down. Then shall we have dinner together tonight? Let's go to your favorite Italian restaurant. In my previous life, I liked that Italian restaurant the most because it was where we had our first date. But thinking back now, that meal had also been carefully arranged by her to make me grow more attached to her. Sophia, I'm going to the lawyer's this afternoon, I told her directly. The breathing on the other end of the line suddenly sounded a little hurried. You really want a divorce? Yes. Why? Her voice began to tremble. Ethan, what exactly went wrong between us? Tell me, I can change. Some problems can't be solved just by changing. I said, Sophia, our personalities don't match. Our values are different. Forcing it will only hurt each other. You're talking nonsense. We're perfect for each other. Sophia's voice rose. Ethan, have you met someone? Is someone whispering bad things about me in your ear? I couldn't help but laugh. In the previous life, she was the same, always shifting the blame onto others, never admitting it was her fault. No one whispered in my ear. This was my own decision. I won't agree to a divorce. Sophia suddenly shouted, Ethan, I won't consent. It doesn't matter if you don't agree. The court will decide. My tone was very calm. Sophia, think carefully. Does it really make sense for us to go on like this? After hanging up, I looked at Sophia's photo on my phone, my feelings mixed. It's a lie to say I don't hate her. In the last life, she made me suffer in hell for a full 10 years, and in the end she humiliated me, leaving me with nothing. But now, looking at this young face, I remember the sweetness when we first met. Back then she was so innocent and adorable that I thought I'd found true love. Only now do I realize it was a carefully planned deception from the start. She got close to me because she knew my potential, knew I would succeed in the future. She married me so she could later take my wealth. She faked an affair to test the depth of my feelings for her, to make sure I would give up everything for her. This woman's scheming is even deeper than I imagined. At 3 in the afternoon, I arrived at David's office on time. Ethan, you don't look well, David said with concern. Have you really decided to divorce? I have. I handed him the documents I had prepared. This is my list of assets. I want to protect my property to the greatest extent possible. David took the documents and skimmed them, his brow gradually furrowing. Ethan, you've only been married a year. According to marriage law, marital property after marriage is joint property of the spouses. She has the right to take half. I know, I nodded, but my company is premarital property. The appreciation over this year can be considered marital joint property, but the principal should be mine. That can be argued. David wrote notes on the paper. But your house was bought after marriage. She certainly has a share of that. The house. In my previous life, to show my love for her, I deliberately put the property deed in her name. In this life, fortunately, I didn't do that. The down payment for the house came from my premarital savings. I have bank records to prove that, I said. Although we paid the mortgage together, it was mainly me who paid it. Be mentally prepared. Even so, she can still get a portion of the property, David said seriously. Unless you can prove she was at fault. Fault? I remembered what happened between her and Liam in my last life, but it hasn't happened yet, and I have no evidence. I'll find a way, I said. Then I'll draft the divorce agreement first. You can see if there's anything that needs changing. By the time I left the law firm, it was almost dark. I saw Sophia's car parked at the curb. She was on the phone inside. As I approached, I heard her say, I know, I'll handle it. No, not yet. Wait a little longer. She saw me, immediately hung up, and stepped out of the car with a smile. Honey, you're home? I bought groceries. I'm making your favorite pasta tonight. Her smile was very sweet, but I detected calculation in it. Sophia, who were you just on the phone with? I asked. A friend. Her eyes flickered. A colleague from the company, something work-related. A friend. In my previous life, I asked her this question many times, and each time she answered the same way, and I always chose to believe her. Oh, I nodded, not pressing further. We went upstairs together. Sophia naturally looped her arm through mine as if nothing had happened. But I knew the war had only just begun. Sophia really made spaghetti, along with several of my usual favorite dishes. She sat opposite me, watching me eat gently, occasionally picking food onto my plate. "Husband, how's the spaghetti? Is it a bit salty?" she asked with concern. "It's fine." I ate calmly, showing no sign of anything unusual. "That's good." Sophia breathed a sigh of relief. "Actually, I've been thinking about what happened last night all afternoon. I think maybe my work stress has been too much lately and my temper has gotten worse. Honey, can you forgive me?" Her gaze was very sincere. If I didn't know the truth, I really would have been moved. "Sophia, it's not a question of forgiving or not." I put down my fork. "I want to see a lawyer today." The motion of her picking up a dish froze, and the smile on her face became somewhat strained. "Husband, are you really going to divorce me?" "Yes." I looked at her. "I've already had the lawyer draw up the divorce papers. You'll receive them tomorrow." Sophia's face instantly turned ugly, and the fork fell onto the plate. "Ethan, are you crazy?" Her voice began to tremble. "We only had one fight, and you want a divorce?" "It's not because of a fight," I said calmly. "It's because I discovered we're simply not compatible." "Not compatible where?" "Say it clearly." Sophia stood up, her voice rising. "How have I wronged you? I get up early every day to make you breakfast. I cook for you when you come home from work. I take care of your daily life. What's not good enough about me?" I looked at her angry face with no ripple of feeling in my heart. In my previous life, seeing her angry would have made me ache. I would have thought I'd done something wrong. But now I only thought her performance was clumsy. "Sophia, ask yourself honestly, do you really love me?" I stood up and looked her in the eyes. "Or are you just treating me like a tool?" Her gaze flickered, then tears fell. "How can you say that about me?" "Ethan, aren't my feelings for you obvious? If I didn't love you, why would I marry you?" "Then tell me, why did you marry me?" I pressed on. "Was it because of my character, my looks, or something else?" Sophia was stunned. She clearly hadn't expected me to ask such a direct question. I married you precisely because I love you." Her voice grew smaller and smaller. "What is it about me you love?" I pressed. "Sophia, can you specifically say what it is that you love about me?" She opened her mouth, but couldn't get a word out. Yes, she couldn't say it. Because she had never loved me, she didn't know how to answer the question at all. "Ethan, you're really strange today." Sophia wiped her tears. "You never asked me this kind of question before. I was too foolish before." I sat back in the chair. "Sophia, let's be frank. Did you get close to me because you knew I had potential?" Her expression grew even uglier. "What are you talking about? How could I possibly?" "Then explain why you never let me meet your friends. Why do you always come home so late? Why have you been growing increasingly cold toward me?" I asked 3 questions in a row. Sophia was left speechless by the questions. She sat back in her chair and lowered her head without saying anything. After a long time, she finally looked up at me and said, "Ethan, have you been seeing another woman?" I couldn't help but laugh. As expected, she started changing the subject again. In my previous life, she did the same. Whenever I questioned her, she would turn around and question me. "No," I answered simply. "Then why did you suddenly become like this?" Sophia cried even harder. "Honey, can we stop fighting? I promise I won't make you angry anymore." "Sophia, this isn't a fight. I'm serious." I stood up. "We're not suitable for each other. It's better for everyone if we separate early." "I won't agree," Sophia suddenly shouted. "Ethan, I will never agree to a divorce, even if I die." I looked at her hysterical appearance, feeling not the slightest stir in my heart. "Your refusal doesn't matter. I can file for divorce." My voice was very calm. "The court will decide." "How dare you?" Sophia glared at me. "Ethan, if you dare sue me, I'll make sure you get nothing." Finally revealed her true colors. "What do you want me to do so that I get nothing?" I retorted. Sophia realized she had let something slip. Her face turned very ugly. I didn't mean it like that." "Sophia, I advise you to cooperate with me if you want an amicable split." I looked at her. "Otherwise, taking this to court won't do your reputation any favors." She stared at me for a long time, the emotions in her eyes complex and inscrutable. "Ethan, you've really changed," she murmured. "You've changed into someone I don't even recognize. People grow, I said as I cleaned up the dishes. Sophia, think about my proposal. A divorce by agreement is better for everyone. What if I refuse to divorce? She asked suddenly. Then I'll file a lawsuit, I said without turning my head. I've already made up my mind. That night, Sophia made many more calls. Her voice kept very low, but I still heard some of it. No, he seems to have found out something. I don't know how he suddenly became like this. Don't show up yet. Let me think of a way. She really was discussing strategies with someone else. I lay in bed, thinking about everything from my past life. Back then I chose to ignore any oddness from her, always making excuses for her. In hindsight, those phone calls, those nights coming home late, those inexplicable mood swings, all had reasons. She was plotting with Liam how to squeeze every bit of value out of me. And I, like a fool kept in the dark, still thought I had found true love. The next morning, Sophia made a sumptuous breakfast again. Honey, try this croissant. I got it early from your favorite shop, she said with a beaming smile. I looked at the breakfast on the table, my heart a tangle of emotions. In my previous life, I would have been moved by such small details, would have thought that although she had flaws, she still loved me. Sophia, you don't have to do this anymore, I said. My decision won't change. Her smile froze. Husband, are you really this cruel? Her eyes reddened again. We've been together for so long. Is there really no feeling at all? Yes, I nodded. But feelings can't replace everything. Sophia, the problems between us can't be solved with a single breakfast. She bit her lip and looked at me, a flicker of an emotion I couldn't read passing through her eyes. Ethan, what exactly do you want? She asked suddenly. Tell me. If I can do it, I'll agree to it. I watched her anxious expression and suddenly felt curious about what she would do to salvage this marriage. What I want is very simple, I said. I want a wife who truly loves me, not an actress. Sophia's face went pale in an instant. After that remark from Sophia, she didn't speak again. She ate breakfast with her head down, looking completely dejected. I knew my words had hit her where it hurt. I'm off to work. I stood up to leave. Ethan, wait. Sophia called after me. Tonight, can we talk properly? I nodded. Okay. On the way to work, I received a call from David. Ethan, I've already drafted the divorce agreement. Come over and see if there's anything you want changed. Okay, I'll come by at noon. When I arrived at the company, my assistant Mark told me that someone named Liam had been looking for me. I was taken aback. Liam had already shown up? What did he say? I tried to make my voice sound normal. He said he's a friend of Mrs. Taylor and wants to talk to you about something, Mark said. I told him you were in a meeting. He left a phone number. I took the slip of paper, looked at the number, and sneered inwardly. Has this Liam already started getting restless? I didn't call him back. Instead, I focused on my work. At noon, I went to David's law firm. The agreement I've already reviewed. There are basically no issues. I said to David, when can it be delivered to her? Tomorrow. David looked at me. Ethan, are you really sure? I met this Sophia. She's very pretty, and her personality is quite good. Appearances can be deceiving. I said lightly, Lawyer David, I'm serious about this. All right, I'll arrange for someone to deliver it tomorrow. David nodded. But be mentally prepared. She might not agree easily. I know. When I returned to the office, I found a bouquet of flowers on my desk and a card. The card read, Husband, I love you. No matter what happens, I will not give up on our marriage. Always loving you, Sophia. Looking at the card, I remembered that in my previous life, she often wrote things like this to me. Back then, I would be so moved, I was senselessly happy, thinking I was the luckiest man in the world. Now I only felt disgust. I threw the flowers into the trash can and tore the card to pieces. In the afternoon, Liam came again. Mr. Johnson, I'm Liam, Sophia's friend. He stood at my office door, smiling brightly. May I have a few minutes of your time? I sized the man up. About 26 or 27, quite handsome. No wonder Sophia would be attracted to him. Please sit. I made a gesture. Mr. Chun, what did you want to see me about? It's like this. Sophia hasn't been feeling well lately, and as a friend, I'm very worried about her. Liam sat down. She said you misunderstood her and wanted a divorce. This is a matter between my wife and me. My voice was cold. Mr. Chun, as an outsider, aren't you meddling a bit too much? Liam's smile was a little forced. Mr. Johnson, Sophia and I are just ordinary friends. I only care about her, that's all. Just friends. I cut him off. Mr. Chun, my wife was with you until very late last night. Is it the just friends relationship you mean? His expression changed. Mr. Johnson, you misunderstood. Last night, we only had dinner together. Dinner that lasted until the middle of the night. I stood up. Mr. Chun, I advise you to stay away from my wife. Mr. Johnson, you really have the wrong idea. Liam also stood up. Sophia is a very good girl. You shouldn't treat her like this. You don't get to tell me whether she's good or not. I walked up to him. Mr. Chun, please leave my office. Liam looked at me, a flash of anger crossing his eyes, but he quickly returned to smiling. Mr. Johnson, I hope you can handle your family matters calmly. He said that and left. I watched his retreating figure, a bitter smile on my heart. This person really can't keep his temper. In the last life, he never showed himself until Sophia and I divorced, but this time he popped up so early. It seems my reaction exceeded their expectations. When I got home that night, Sophia had already prepared a table full of dishes. Honey, you're back? She greeted me with a smile. I made your favorite sweet and sour spare ribs. Sophia, your friend came to see me today. I took off my coat. Liam, her movement visibly froze for a moment. Then she quickly returned to normal. Liam, what did he want from you? Her voice sounded natural, but I noticed her hands trembling. He said he was worried about you and wanted me not to divorce you. I looked at her. Sophia, did you tell outsiders about our issues? I was just in a bad mood and chatted with a friend for a few minutes. Sophia lowered her head. Honey, please don't be mad, okay? I'm not angry. I sat down at the dining table. But I hope we don't involve outsiders in our private matters. I know I won't do it again. Sophia sat opposite me. Honey, let's eat. While we ate, Sophia kept trying to liven the mood, but I could tell she was distracted. Husband, is the company busy today? She asked. Not really. I want to take the day off tomorrow to be with you. Shall we go see a movie together? No need. I'm very busy tomorrow. Sophia bit her lip, looking very aggrieved. Honey, can you tell me, what exactly did I do wrong? Her eyes reddened again. If you tell me, can I change? I put down my fork and looked at her. Sophia, the problem isn't what you did wrong. It's that everything you did wasn't sincere. What do you mean? Her voice trembled slightly. Your concern for me, your gentleness, your thoughtfulness, it's all an act, I said calmly. Sophia, aren't you tired? She stared at me with wide eyes, her expression turning ugly. Ethan, what are you talking about? How could I? You can keep denying it. I cut her off, but Sophia, I've seen through it. She opened her mouth, but couldn't get a word out. After a long while, she choked out, Husband, even if I've done things wrong, my feelings for you are real. Can't you give me a chance? I've already given you chances many times. I stood up. Sophia, you'll receive the divorce papers tomorrow. Think it over. I won't sign, she suddenly shouted. Ethan, I would never sign it even if I died. Then we'll see each other in court. I walked toward the study without looking back. Sophia's cries came from behind me, but I did not turn around. That night, I heard Sophia on the phone in the living room, her voice very agitated. No, he really seems to have made up his mind. I don't know what to do either. Don't worry. Let me think of something else. The next morning, Sophia's eyes were swollen like walnuts, clearly from crying all night. Honey, I made oatmeal porridge. Have some before you go to work. Her voice was hoarse. I took a few sips of the porridge and prepared to leave. Ethan, Sophia called after me. Are you really unwilling to give us another chance? I turned and looked at her haggard appearance, and for a moment my heart wavered. But I soon remembered the sneer on her face when she brought Liam home in the previous life, and the humiliating thing she said to me. There's no chance, I said, then left the house. At 10 in the morning, David called and said the divorce papers had been served to Sophia. She reacted violently and actually chase the process server away, David said. But the legal documents have been served. Whether she accepts them or not doesn't matter. I understand. In the afternoon, Sophia came to my office. She was wearing my favorite white dress, with exquisite makeup, looking delicate and charming. "Mr. Johnson, your wife is here," Mark said at the door. "Let her in." Sophia walked in the office, closed the door, and then came up to me. "Honey, can we talk?" Her voice was very gentle. "About what?" I didn't look up, continuing to read the documents. "Let's talk about our marriage." She sat down across from me. "Honey, I received the divorce papers, but I won't sign them." "I know." I looked up at her. "So I'm filing a lawsuit." "Why?" Sophia's tears fell. "Ethan, we could clearly have a good life together. Why do you insist on divorcing?" "Because I'm tired," I said. "Sophia, I don't want to continue this game any longer." "What game?" "I don't understand." I looked at her innocent expression and couldn't help but laugh. "Sophia, have you finished acting?" When Sophia heard my words, her face instantly went pale. "Husband, what are you saying?" "I don't understand." Her voice began to tremble. "Still going to keep pretending?" I leaned back against the chair. "Sophia, what is your real purpose for getting close to me? Why did you marry me? You know that better than I do." She widened her eyes at me, as if seeing me for the first time. "Ethan, how can you think that of me? I married you because I truly love you." "Sincere?" I sneered. "Then tell me, who is Liam?" Sophia's body visibly trembled. "He's just my friend, a normal friend." She forced a smile. "Honey, don't overthink it." "A normal friend?" I took a photo from the drawer and pushed it in front of her, then explained this. It was a photo of Sophia and Liam together, their arms linked, looking very close. I had accidentally found the picture on her phone in my previous life. At the time, she said it was a photo with a friend, nothing special. Looking back now, they were already together then. Sophia's face grew even more sullen when she saw the photo. Where did you get this photo?" she asked, her voice almost trembling. "It doesn't matter." I took the photo back. "What matters is how you explain it." Sophia opened her mouth, but couldn't find the words. "Sophia, I'm giving you one last chance." I looked at her. "Tell me the truth. What is your real purpose in getting close to me?" She kept her head down and was silent for a long time. The office was very quiet. Only the ticking of the clock on the wall could be heard. After a long while, Sophia finally looked up at me, a chill in her eyes I had never seen before. "Ethan, you want to know the truth?" Her voice grew very calm. "All right, I'll tell you." I watched her, waiting for her answer. "I approached you, not because of love." Sophia's mouth curled into a mocking smile. "Liam and I are indeed lovers. We've been together since college." Finally, she told the truth. Although I had long known the facts, hearing her admit it with my own ears still made my heart ache sharply. "Why?" I tried to make my voice sound calm. "Since you have a boyfriend, why did you marry me?" "Because of the money." Sophia said bluntly. "Ethan, don't play innocent. Do you think I would ever fall in love with a man like you?" Her words stabbed into my heart like a knife. "What do you mean by a man like me?" I asked. "Honest, dull, without any sense of fun, good for nothing except having a bit of money." Sophia's tone turned cutting. "Ethan, have you looked in a mirror? Do you really think with your qualities you could find a woman like me?" I looked at her as if I were meeting her for the first time. This was the woman I had loved for 10 years, the woman I was willing to give everything for. "So you married me for the money?" I asked on. "Of course," Sophia said without hiding it. "I investigated you, knew your company had potential, knew you would succeed in the future. So I chose you." "What about Liam? What role does he play in all this?" "He's my boyfriend, always has been." Sophia stood up. "We planned to wait until your company got big, then divorce and split the assets." "I see." I nodded. "Then why the rush? I remember you just begged me not to divorce." Sophia froze for a moment, clearly not expecting me to ask that question. Because the timing isn't right yet." Her voice was somewhat uncertain. "Your company hasn't met our expectations yet." I couldn't help but laugh. "Sophia, do you know what I admire most about you right now?" "What?" You're acting. I looked at her. These past 3 years, you've played the part too well. The gentle, virtuous wife, the woman who loves her husband deeply. You acted so convincingly, I almost believed it. Sophia's expression changed. What 3 years? We've only been married for a year. Damn, I let the cat out of the bag. I mean, if we were to go through with it. I quickly added, Sophia, your plan is perfect, but you underestimated me. What do you mean? I already know your entire plan. I took a voice recorder out of the drawer, including your conversations with Liam. Sophia's face went instantly pale. You secretly recorded me? That's not secretly recording. That's gathering evidence. I looked at her. Sophia, you think your plan is flawless, but it showed its flaws long ago. She slumped into the chair, looking completely distraught. Now I'm giving you 2 choices. I continued. First, obediently sign the divorce papers. I can give you some money to let you leave. Second, I submit this evidence to the court, and then not only will you get nothing, you may also face charges of fraud. Sophia looked up at me, her eyes full of disbelief. Ethan, how did you become like this? People grow up. My voice was very calm. Sophia, which one will you choose? She was silent for a long time, then suddenly began to cry. Honey, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. She knelt before me. Will you give me one more chance? I can break up with Liam. I can be sincere with you. I looked at her kneeling on the floor. I felt nothing. Sophia, some things, once they happen, can't be undone, I said. Your tears have no effect on me. No, you used to be so hurt when you saw me cry. Sophia grabbed my leg. Honey, can we start over? I promise I'll be sincere with you from now on. It's too late. I pushed her away. Sophia, what is your choice? She looked at me, the despair in her eyes growing deeper. If I choose the first one, how much will you give me? She finally came back to reality. $500,000. I said, enough for you and Liam to live on for a while. She bit her lip, thinking for a long time. I need time to think. I'll give you 3 days. I glanced at my watch. 3 days from now I'll file for divorce. Sophia stood up and straightened her clothes. Ethan, you've really changed. Her voice was very calm. You've become someone I don't recognize at all. It was you who never really knew me. I said, Sophia, 3 days, think it over carefully. She didn't say anything more and turned to leave my office. I watched her walk away, my feelings a complicated mix. Finally, this farce was about to end. But I knew Sophia wouldn't give up easily. She surely had more tricks waiting for me. Sure enough, that night when I returned home, I found guests in the house. Sophia's parents were sitting in the living room, and they stood up when they saw me come in. Ethan, you're back. Mrs. Taylor, Sophia's mother, said with a smile. We just arrived. Sophia is in the kitchen cooking. I looked at them, a cold sneer forming in my heart. Sophia had brought reinforcements. Hello, Uncle and Aunt. I greeted politely. Ethan, Sophia told me you two have been having problems? Mr. Taylor looked at me. Young people, a few quarrels are normal. Don't talk about divorce at the drop of a hat. Here we go. Mr. Taylor, this isn't a few quarrels. I sat down. Sophia and I don't share the same values, and our personalities don't match. How don't they match? Mrs. Taylor grew agitated. Sophia is such a good girl. Where would you find another like her? A good girl? If you knew what her daughter had done, you might not say that. Auntie, there are some things you may not be aware of, I said. What things? Mr. Taylor asked. Just then, Sophia came out of the kitchen. Mom, Dad, please don't ask. Her eyes were still swollen and red. This is between Ethan and me. Between you two? Mrs. Taylor said displeased. Sophia, tell your mother. What exactly happened? Sophia glanced at me, a plea in her eyes. She was begging me not to reveal the truth. Sophia has another man outside. I said calmly. The living room fell silent instantly. Mr. Taylor and Mrs. Taylor stared at Sophia with wide eyes, incredulously asking, Sophia, is this true? Sophia's face turned very ugly. She said nothing. Nonsense. Mrs. Taylor stood up. Ethan, how can you slander Sophia like this? How could she possibly do such a thing? Aunt, I have evidence. I took out the photo. This is a picture of Sophia with her boyfriend. Mr. Taylor took the photo and looked at it. His face turned ugly. Sophia, who is this man? He asked in a deep voice. Sophia kept her head down and said nothing. Sophia, answer your father's question, I said. She looked up at me, her eyes full of hatred. His name is Liam. He's my friend. Friend? Mr. Taylor's voice rose. Would a friend link arms like this? Dad, Sophia. Mr. Taylor stood up. Tell me the truth. Sophia was frightened. She trembled and said, It's my boyfriend. Mrs. Taylor plopped down on the sofa, her face ashen. Sophia, how? How could you do something like this? She asked, trembling. You're married. Mom, Sophia knelt before Mrs. Taylor. I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Mr. Taylor was trembling with anger. You unfilial woman. How did I give birth to a daughter like you? Watching this family's farce, I felt no pleasure at all. I just wanted to end all of it as soon as possible. The Sue family's family meeting lasted a full 2 hours. Mr. Taylor was so angry his face turned pale. Mrs. Taylor cried until her eyes were red, and Sophia knelt on the ground, apologizing nonstop. Dad, Mom, I really know I was wrong. Sophia said through tears. I will cut ties with him. I will treat Ethan well. What's the use of saying that now? Mr. Taylor said angrily. You've ruined the Taylor family's reputation. Uncle, please calm down. I pretended to console him. Your health is more important. Ethan, I am so sorry. Mrs. Taylor wiped her tears. We didn't raise our daughter well and made you suffer. Andy, please don't say that. I replied politely, It's not your fault. Ethan, can you forgive Sophia? Mr. Taylor looked at me. She's still young and ignorant. Can you give her a chance? I looked at Sophia kneeling on the floor. She looked up at me as well, her eyes full of expectation. Uncle, some things can't be solved by forgiveness. I shook my head. Once trust is broken, it's very hard to rebuild. You mean you insist on a divorce? Mr. Taylor asked. Yes. I nodded. I made up my mind. Sophia worsened in her crying when she heard me. Husband, I'm begging you. Please give me one more chance, okay? She crawled in front of me. I swear I'll sever all ties with Liam. I'll be a good wife. Sophia, I don't believe a single word you say. I looked at her coldly. Because you've never told the truth. This time I'm telling the truth. Sophia said urgently. Honey, I swear, if I ever get involved with another man again, may I be struck by lightning. What good does swearing do? I stood up. Sophia, there's no way to fix this anymore. No, I don't believe it. Sophia clung to my leg. Honey, you loved me so much before. How could you just stop loving me like that? I used to truly love her so much I would give everything for her. But now I've seen her true colors, and that love died long ago. People change. I push her away. Sophia, you've changed too, haven't you? She froze, then began to cry even more wildly. Ethan, let's talk. Mr. Taylor stood up. Come out with me for a moment. I followed Mr. Taylor out to the balcony. Ethan, I know Sophia did wrong. Mr. Taylor's voice was heavy. But after all, you two are husband and wife. Can't this be settled without getting to the point of divorce? Uncle, I understand your thinking, but our problems are too serious, I said. Besides, Sophia's infidelity didn't happen overnight. What do you mean? Her relationship with that Liam started before we got married. I looked at Mr. Taylor. She didn't marry me for love at all. Mr. Taylor's expression grew even uglier. Are you saying she did it for money? Yes. I nodded. She and Liam planned to wait until my career took off, then divorce and split the assets. Mr. Taylor staggered at the words, almost unable to keep his balance. How is this possible? He asked in disbelief. Sophia, how could she do something like this? Uncle, I have evidence. I took out the voice recorder. This is the recording of her conversation with Liam. I played a recording that clearly captured Sophia and Liam discussing how to swindle my inheritance. Mr. Taylor turned pale after hearing that. This unfilial daughter, This unfilial daughter. He angrily pounded the railing. How did I end up with such a daughter? Uncle, please don't get too worked up. I steadied him. Your health is more important. Ethan, on behalf of the Taylor family, I apologize to you. Mr. Taylor bowed deeply. We failed to raise our daughter properly and caused you suffering. Uncle, please don't say that. I hurriedly helped him up. This isn't your fault. I will handle this. Mr. Taylor's voice was firm. She must sign the divorce agreement. We returned to the living room. Mr. Taylor's face was dark and terrifying. Sophia, come here, he said in a deep voice. Sophia walked over trembling. Slap. Mr. Taylor slapped Sophia hard. You unfilial daughter, he said angrily. Do you know what you have done? Sophia covered her face, eyes full of terror. Dad, Shut up. Mr. Taylor interrupted her. You will sign the divorce papers right now. Dad, I don't want a divorce. Sophia cried. I'll really change. Change? You have the nerve to talk about changing. Mr. Taylor shook with fury. You married me under false pretenses from the start. How do you have the face to stay here? Old Sue, don't be so agitated. Mrs. Taylor was also crying as she tried to persuade Sophia. Don't speak for her either. Mr. Taylor turned to Mrs. Taylor. It's because you've spoiled her too much all along. Husband, I'm begging you. Please don't get a divorce, okay? Sophia knelt in front of me. I could do anything to make it up to you, really anything I am willing to do. Anything. I looked at her. Then go turn yourself in. What? Sophia was stunned. Turn yourself in at the police station and admit to committing marriage fraud, I said coldly. It's the most meaningful thing you can do. Sophia's face went ashen. No, I can't turn myself in, she said, trembling. Then signed the divorce agreement. I took out the agreement. Sophia, this is your last chance. She looked at the agreement, her hand trembling. If I sign, will you really give me $500,000? I keep my word. I nodded. Sophia hesitated for a long time and finally picked up the pen. Wait. She suddenly stopped. I have a condition. What condition? I want $1 million. She looked at me. $500,000 is too little. I couldn't help but laugh. This woman was still haggling at this point. Sophia, you don't have a right to bargain, I said. Either $500,000 or nothing. You. She gritted her teeth and looked at me. Ethan, are you really that heartless? I have to be heartless to you, I said without mercy. Mr. Taylor couldn't stand it and snatched the pen, signing Sophia's name himself. Dad, Sophia cried. Shut up, Mr. Taylor snapped. Are you not embarrassed enough already? I took the agreement, glanced at the signatures. Good. I nodded. Sophia, tomorrow I'll arrange for someone to handle the divorce paperwork. Prepare your ID card and household registration book. Ethan, where's the money? Sophia asked. I'll transfer it to you after the paperwork is done, I said. That night, the Taylor family left. When Sophia left, she glanced back at me, her eyes full of hatred. Ethan, you'll regret this, she said through gritted teeth. I won't regret it, I replied calmly, but you certainly will. She said nothing more and left with her parents. I looked at the empty house, feeling no attachment. This farce is finally coming to an end, but I know Sophia won't give up so easily. She will surely find a way to get back at me. Sure enough, the next morning I received a call from Liam. Mr. Johnson, let's meet. His voice was very grim. There are some things we need to talk about. Sure. I agreed readily. When? 3 this afternoon. The usual place. The usual place? I remembered that in my previous life, the last time Liam threatened me was in a secluded cafe. It seems that in this life, they still plan to use the same tricks. Okay, I'll be there on time, I said. Mr. Johnson, you'd better think it through, Liam warned. Some things, once they happen, there is no turning back. I'm looking forward to it. I hung up. At 3 in the afternoon, I arrived at the cafe on time. Liam was already there waiting for me, with 2 burly men seated beside him. Mr. Johnson, you're here. Liam stood up, a sinister smile on his face. Mr. Chun, what do you want with me? I sat down and asked calmly. It's like this. Sophia told me you want to divorce her. Liam's voice grew dark. That makes me very unhappy. So what? I retorted. Mr. Johnson, I advise you to withdraw the divorce filing. Liam threatened, or there will be serious consequences. I looked at the two hulking men beside him and couldn't help but laugh. Mr. Chun, are you threatening me? You can take it that way, Liam said without hiding it. Mr. Johnson, we don't want to make a big scene, but if you insist on divorcing, then what do you want? I interrupted him. Very simple. Liam smiled wickedly. Mr. Johnson, your company is doing well. If something unexpected happened, the losses would be considerable, right? I understand. They intend to go after my company. Mr. Chun, do you think I would be afraid of your threats? I looked at him. Do you think I wasn't prepared? What do you mean? Liam paused, startled. I took out my phone and played a recording. It was precisely what we had just been discussing. It clearly recorded his threats. Mr. Chun, extortion is a serious crime. I looked at his terrified face. How do you think the police would react if I handed this recording over? Liam's face instantly turned ashen. You recorded it? Of course. I put away my phone. Mr. Chun, I advise you to be honest. Don't do anything foolish. Liam and the two big men looked at each other, clearly not expecting me to be prepared. Mr. Johnson, we were just joking. Liam forced a smile. A joke. I stood up. Mr. Chun, I hope this is the last time we meet. If you dare harass me again, I will not hesitate to call the police. After saying that, I left the cafe. Angry curses from Liam came from behind, but I didn't look back. Those little tricks might have worked on my past self, but to me now they were insignificant. I was already prepared to deal with all of their tactics. The divorce papers were processed very smoothly. Sophia didn't speak at all during the whole process. She simply went through the motions. Her eyes were hollow, as if her soul had been lost. All right, the paperwork is finished. The clerk handed us the divorce certificate. I wish you both new happiness. I took the divorce certificate and felt a weight lift from my chest. Finally free. Sophia was also holding her copy of the divorce certificate, standing there in a daze. Sophia, I've already transferred the money to your account, I told her. Let's never see each other again. She looked up at me, her eyes full of complicated emotions. Ethan, do you really not miss the past at all? Her voice was very hoarse. Miss the past? I sneered. Did we ever have real feelings between us? She opened her mouth, but couldn't say anything. Sophia, you know it best yourself. I turned to leave. From the very beginning, you never treated this marriage sincerely. Wait, Sophia called after me. Ethan, I want to ask you a question. What question? When did you start doubting me? She looked at me. Was it from very early on? I looked at her, a wave of desolation welling up inside me. If I hadn't been reborn, I might never have doubted her. In my last life, I kept making excuses for her until the end, until she spoke those cruel words herself. From the first night, you didn't come home. I didn't tell her the truth. Sophia, a woman who truly loves her husband, wouldn't do that. She lowered her head and was silent for a long time. If I had been sincere with you back then, would the outcome have been different? She asked suddenly. Noifs. I looked at her. Sophia, you've already made your choice. Now just bear the consequences. I will regret it, won't I? She said with a bitter smile. Maybe. I shrugged. But that's none of my business anymore. After saying that, I left the Civil Affairs Bureau. Back at the company, I felt much lighter. It was like taking off a huge burden. Mr. Johnson, you seem to be in a good mood. Assistant Mark said with a smile. Yes, one worry has been resolved. I nodded. By the way, anything important coming up lately? There's good news. Mark said excitedly. Johnson Group wants to cooperate with us. Their representatives will come over tomorrow to discuss. Johnson Group. My heart jolted. This is a turning point. In my previous life, it was precisely the collaboration with Johnson Group that brought me tremendous success in my career. But by then, Sophia had already begun planning the divorce. She had been waiting for this opportunity, waiting to divorce and split the assets once I truly succeeded. Now it's fine. She gets nothing. Great, I said with a smile. When is tomorrow's meeting scheduled? 2 in the afternoon. Mark said, Mr. Johnson, If this collaboration succeeds, our company will reach a new level. Yes. I nodded. Prepare well. Don't make any mistakes. That night, I ate instant noodles alone in the empty house, yet I felt very cheerful. Without Sophia's fake concern, without her acting and deception, life actually felt more real. At that moment, the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole, and, to my surprise, it was Liam. He stood alone outside the door, his expression sullen. I opened the door and looked at him coldly. Mr. Chun, what are you doing here? Ethan, we need to talk. Liam pushed me aside and walked into the room. About Sophia. Your business is none of mine. I closed the door. Sophia and I are already divorced. It's precisely because of the divorce that I want to talk to you. Liam turned to look at me, his eyes full of anger. Do you know what state Sophia is in right now? I don't know, and I don't want to know. I sat down on the sofa. Mr. Chun, spit it out. I need to rest. Sophia is insane, Liam shouted. She cries all day, won't eat, won't speak, like a mad woman. There was not a ripple in my heart. That's her business, none of my concern. How is that none of your concern? Liam said angrily. It's all because of you. If you hadn't suddenly wanted a divorce, she wouldn't have become like this. I couldn't help but laugh. Mr. Chun, you're mistaken about one thing, I said to him. I divorced not because I discovered your relationship, but because I no longer wanted to be deceived. What do you mean? I knew about your plan a long time ago, I said calmly. Sophia's acting is very good, but it's not flawless. Liam was stunned. When did you find out? From the very beginning, I lied. Mr. Chun, you thought you were clever, but you had been exposed long ago. His expression turned very ugly. Since you knew long ago, why didn't you get a divorce sooner? Because I wanted to see how far you could act. I stood up. Now I've seen enough, so I choose to end this farce. Ethan, you're so cruel. Liam pointed at me. Sophia loves you so much. How could you do this to her? Love me? I sneered. Mr. Chun, are you kidding? She loves my money, not me as a person. No. Liam suddenly became agitated. Sophia, she really fell in love with you. I was stunned. What? Sophia told me that during her time living with you, she truly fell in love with you. Liam's voice began to tremble. She said she wanted to break up with me, to sincerely live with you. How could that be possible? I looked at Liam, trying to find traces of lies in his expression, but he seemed genuinely sincere. You're lying to me, I said. I'm not lying to you, Liam said loudly. Why do you think she's in so much pain now? If she doesn't love you, a divorce should be a relief for her. I fell silent. Indeed, if Sophia didn't love me, a divorce should be good for her. She could take $500,000 and start over with Liam. So why would she be in such agony? Even if she has fallen in love with me, so what? I forced myself to calm down. Mr. Chun, some mistakes, once made, cannot be undone. But she really knows she was wrong. Liam pleaded. Ethan, can you give her a chance? She really loves you. It's too late. I turned away without looking at him. Mr. Chun, please leave. Ethan. Liam suddenly dropped to his knees in front of me. I'm begging you, remarry Sophia. I was startled by his action. What were you doing? I'm begging you. Liam began to cry. Sophia will really die. She hasn't eaten anything for 3 days straight. A shock ran through me. Sophia wants to kill herself? Why isn't she eating? I couldn't help asking. She said life has no meaning. Liam wiped his tears. She said without you, she's nothing. My heart began to waver. No, I can't be swayed by his words. Sophia is a very good actress. This could be another one of her schemes. Mr. Chun, please get up. I helped him to his feet. You deal with Sophia's matter. It has nothing to do with me. Ethan, are you really that heartless? Liam looked at me. Even if she did wrong before, she truly knows she was wrong now. I've said it before. Some mistakes can't be undone. I stood by my position. Liam looked at me, his eyes full of despair. Ethan, I'll tell you a secret, he said suddenly. Actually, Sophia and I never had a physical relationship. What? I was stunned. We were just pretending. Liam continued. Sophia kept herself pure. She said she wanted to save herself for someone who truly loved her. My mind felt completely muddled. How is that possible? If they never slept together, then why did Sophia deceive me like this? You're lying, I said. I'm not lying, Liam said urgently. Ethan, you can go to the hospital and check. Sophia is still a virgin. My worldview began to collapse. If what Liam said was true, what would that mean? So, does that mean Sophia, although deceiving me, has remained faithful to the marriage? So, does that mean she was close to me for the money, but really fell in love with me during our time together? No, I can't be fooled by their new scheme. Mr. Chun, I won't believe anything you say. I forced myself to stay calm. Please leave at once. Liam looked at me, his eyes full of disappointment. Ethan, you'll regret this. He said that and left. I sat alone in the living room, my emotions too complicated to describe. Were Liam's words true or false? Has Sophia really fallen in love with me? Or was this another new scam? I picked up my phone, hesitated for a long time, and in the end still didn't make the call. No matter what, I can't be fooled by them anymore. But that night, I couldn't sleep. The next day's partnership negotiations went very smoothly. The representatives from a Johnson group were very interested in our project, and a preliminary cooperation intention was reached. Mr. Johnson, this collaboration is a win-win for both parties. Mr. Johnson of the Johnson Group said with a smile, we anticipate this project will bring your company at least $30 million in revenue. $30 million. This is even higher than I expected. In my previous life, I recall the returns on this project were around $20 million. Thank you for your trust, Mr. Johnson. I shook his hand. We definitely won't let the Johnson Group down. Then it's settled. Our legal department will draft the formal contract as soon as possible. Mr. Johnson stood up to leave. Mr. Johnson, I look forward to our cooperation. After seeing Mr. Johnson off, I was in a great mood. The success of this project meant my company would finally take off. And most importantly, Sophia would no longer be able to take a single cent from it. Mr. Johnson, congratulations, Mark said excitedly. Now our company is really going to prosper. Yes, I nodded. Let's treat everyone to dinner tonight to celebrate. Just then my phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hello, is this Mr. Ethan? I'm a nurse from the City People's Hospital. A woman named Sophia Taylor is currently in our emergency department. Your name is listed as her emergency contact. I felt a jolt in my chest. What's happened to her? The patient attempted suicide, cut their wrist, and lost too much blood. They're currently in the emergency room. The nurse's voice was very serious. Please come as soon as you can. I hung up the phone, completely stunned. Did Sophia really kill herself? Mr. Johnson, you don't look well. What's wrong? Mark asked with concern. I have an emergency to deal with. I hurriedly packed my things. Postpone the celebration banquet until tomorrow. When I drove to the hospital, Liam was sitting at the emergency room door, his hands covering his face as he cried. Liam, you walked over. He looked up and saw me, a flicker of surprise crossing his eyes. Why are you here? The hospital called me. I sat down beside him. How is Sophia? Still in surgery. Liam's voice was hoarse. The doctors say it's touch and go. She's lost too much blood. I stared at the closed emergency room doors, my feelings a tangle. Why did she try to kill herself? I asked. Because of you. Liam looked at me. Ethan, I already told you yesterday. She really loved you. If she really loved me, why did she deceive me from the start? I asked in return. Because she was afraid. Liam grew emotional. She was afraid that a man as outstanding as you wouldn't like a girl as ordinary as her. Ordinary? I sneered. How is she ordinary? She's ordinary when she's around you. Liam stood up. Ethan, do you know Sophia's family background? I was momentarily stunned. It's true. I knew very little about Sophia's past. She grew up in a single-parent household. Her mother raised her alone, and life was very hard. Liam continued. Her getting close to you. At first it was indeed to change her fate. Then why drag you into it? Because she doesn't believe in pure love in this world. Liam's voice was full of pain. She thinks men are pragmatic, that they'll change their minds, so she wanted to leave herself a way out. I fell silent. But while being with you, she realized you weren't what she imagined. Liam continued. You were genuinely good to her, not because of her beauty, but because you loved her as a person. So she fell in love with me? Yes. Liam nodded. She told me she had never experienced being truly loved. Being with you made her feel like the happiest woman in the world. So why didn't she just tell me? I asked. She was afraid. Liam said painfully. She was afraid you'd leave her if you knew the truth. She was afraid of losing this hard-won happiness. I felt as if something had clenched my heart tightly. So she chose to keep deceiving me? She wanted to wait for the right moment to tell you the truth, Liam said, looking at me. But you suddenly asked for a divorce and scared her. The door to the emergency room suddenly opened and a doctor came out. Doctor, how was the patient? Liam and I stood up at the same time. She's been resuscitated, but she's not yet out of the danger period. The doctor removed his mask. Family should be mentally prepared. What do you mean? I pressed. The patient lost a lot of blood and may have sequelae. The doctor looked at us. And her will to survive is very weak, which is bad for recovery. A cold weight sank in my chest. Can we go in and see her? Liam asked. Yes, but don't upset her, the doctor warned. We walked into the ward and saw Sophia lying in the hospital bed, her face as white as paper, her wrist wrapped in thick bandages. Her eyes were closed. She looked very weak. Sophia? Liam called softly to her. She slowly opened her eyes. When she saw us, a flash of surprise crossed her face. Ethan. Her voice was very weak. Why are you here? The hospital called me. I walked to the bedside. Sophia, why would you do something so stupid? She looked at me, tears welling in her eyes. Because without you, my life has no meaning, she choked out. Sophia, is what you're doing worth it? I asked, looking at her weakened state, my heart full of mixed emotions. Worth it, she nodded. If it makes you know that I truly love you, then it's worth it. I fell silent. Ethan, I know I was wrong, Sophia said with difficulty. I shouldn't have deceived you from the start. I shouldn't have involved Liam in our relationship. Then why did you do it? I asked. Because I was afraid. She cried harder. I was afraid a man as good as you wouldn't truly love me. I was afraid that one day you would grow tired of me and leave. So you prepared an escape in advance? Yes, she admitted. I thought this would protect me, but I was wrong. Where did you go wrong? I was wrong to underestimate the power of love. Sophia looked at me. Ethan, I've really fallen in love with you. From the bottom of my heart. I looked into her sincere eyes, and my heart began to waver. Maybe what she said is true. Maybe she really did fall in love with me during the time we spent together. But she hurt my trust. Can that wound ever heal? Sophia, some things, once they happen, can't be undone, I said. I know, she nodded. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want you to know that my love for you is real. If you really loved me, why would you threaten me with suicide? I asked. I didn't threaten you. Sophia said urgently. I just feel that living is too painful. Having lost you, I truly don't know what to do. Her words softened me. Sophia, take care of your wounds. I stood up. We'll talk about the rest later. Ethan, would you forgive me? She asked, looking at me expectantly. I looked at her, struggling inside. Reason told me I shouldn't trust her again, but emotionally I couldn't bear to see her in such pain. I need time to think, I finally said. A glimmer of hope appeared on Sophia's face. Thank you, she said weakly. Thank you for being willing to give me a chance. I didn't say anything else and turned to leave the ward. After leaving the hospital, my feelings were complicated. How much of what Sophia said was true? Did she really fall in love with me? Or was this yet another, deeper deception? I don't know how to judge anymore. I sat in the living room, staring blankly when I got home that night. Sophia's words kept replaying in my mind, along with images of her weakened state. If she really loved me, shouldn't I give her a chance? But if she's still lying to me, wouldn't I be repeating the same mistake? I picked up my phone intending to send Sophia a message, but after thinking for a long time, I still didn't know what to say. In the end, I put the phone down. This matter needs careful consideration. I must not act impulsively. But one thing I'm very certain of, whether Sophia is sincere or not, I will no longer blindly trust her like I used to. If we were to start over, she had to prove her sincerity to me. Moreover, she had to pay for her deception. Over the next few days, I visited Sophia in the hospital every day. Her body was slowly recovering, but her mental state was still very poor. "Ethan, can you sit with me and talk?" Sophia looked at me, her eyes full of expectation. "Sure." I sat on the chair by the bed. "What do you want to talk about?" "I want to tell you about the first time we met." A trace of tenderness flashed in Sophia's eyes. "It was in the university library." I nodded. "Indeed, we met in the library. That day, I was looking for a professional book, but the bookshelf was too high and I couldn't reach it." Sophia smiled as she recalled. "Then you appeared and helped me take the book down." "I remember." I said. "Do you know what I was thinking at the time?" Sophia looked at me. "I was thinking this boy is so gentle, his eyes are very pure, not like other guys who look at me with lecherous gazes." I listened in silence. "From that moment, I began to have feelings for you," Sophia continued, "but I didn't dare to express them because I felt unworthy of you." "Why did you think that?" I couldn't help asking. "Because you are too outstanding." Sophia's voice grew a little choked. "You have good grades, you're handsome, your family situation is better than mine, and I'm just an ordinary girl." "Sophia, everyone has their own worth." I said, "But I didn't think that way then." She shook her head. "I felt my only advantage was that I looked decent. So when Liam courted me, I agreed." "Liam?" I frowned. "He was a classmate from high school who had always had a crush on me," Sophia explained. "I was with him just to prove that someone liked me too. And then, later I realized I didn't love him at all." Sophia looked at me. "When I was with him, I always thought of you. I thought of your gentle smile. I thought of your clear eyes. I was somewhat moved, but I still remained rational." "So, you planned a scheme to get close to me?" "Yes," Sophia admitted. "I had Liam help me because I wanted to win you. By deceiving me, I know it's wrong." Tears fell from Sophia's eyes. "But I really want to be with you. I'm afraid if I pursue you directly, you'd refuse me. So you pretended to be single, letting me think you were a good girl?" "Yes." She nodded. "Ethan, I know this is despicable, but I really had no other way." I watched her cry, feeling conflicted. "When did you really start loving me?" I asked. "From our first date," Sophia said without hesitation. "That day you took me to the movies, and after it ended we walked across campus together. You casually took off your coat and draped it over me. In that moment, I knew I had fallen in love with you. I remember that night. It really was beautiful." "Do you remember what you said back then?" Sophia looked at me. "What did I say?" "You said, 'Sophia, I will always protect you.'" Her voice was very gentle. "That was the most beautiful thing I have ever heard." I felt a jolt in my chest. I had indeed said those words. From that moment on, I regretted it. Sophia continued. "I regret obtaining you through deception. I want to tell you the truth, but I don't dare." "Why don't you dare?" "Because I'm afraid of losing you." She cried harder. "Ethan, do you know this feeling? Loving someone deeply, but not daring to tell them the truth, because you're afraid the truth will destroy everything." I fell silent. "I'm tormented every day." Sophia took my hand. "I want to confess to you, but I'm afraid you'll hate me. I want to leave you, but I can't bear to give up this love." "So you chose to keep deceiving me?" "I wanted to wait for the right moment." She looked at me. "I wanted to wait until our relationship was more stable, until you loved me more, and then tell you the truth." "But what you waited for was a divorce agreement." "Yes." Sophia nodded. "When I received the agreement, my world collapsed." "Why? If it's just about the money, divorce should be a good thing for you." "Because I really love you," Sophia said loudly. "Ethan, money no longer matters to me. What's important is you." Her words moved something in my heart. "Then why do you want that $500,000? I asked. "Because I wanted to prove it to Liam." Sophia smiled bitterly. "I wanted him to know that I chose money over love, so he would stop bothering me." So you broke up with Liam? We broke up a long time ago. Sophia nodded. From the moment I truly fell in love with you, I broke up with him. Then why is Liam still helping you? Because he still loves me. Sophia's voice was very soft. He wants me to be happy, even if that person isn't him. I looked at Sophia, not sure how much of her to believe. Ethan, I know it's hard for you to trust me right now. Sophia noticed my hesitation. But I can prove it to you. How will you prove it? I can give you back that $500,000, she said. I can write a letter of guarantee, promise never to lie to you again. I could do anything to prove my sincerity. I looked at her earnest expression, and my heart began to waver. Maybe what she said was true. Maybe she really had fallen in love with me through the deceit. Sophia, I need time to think. I said, I know. She nodded. I'll wait for your decision. If I choose to forgive you, can you promise you won't deceive me again? I asked. I swear. Sophia raised her hand. If I lied to you again, may I be struck by lightning. Swearing isn't enough. I shook my head. Sophia, trust takes time to rebuild. I know. Tears glinted in her eyes. Ethan, no matter how long it takes, I'm willing to wait. I stood up, preparing to leave. Ethan, Sophia called after me. If you ultimately can't forgive me, can you tell me why? I turned and looked at her. I will tell you. I said, Sophia, take good care of yourself and heal. After leaving the hospital room, my mood was very heavy. Sophia's words sounded sincere, but I couldn't fully trust them. My experiences in a previous life had left me with deep mistrust of her. But if she truly fell in love with me through deception, if she truly acknowledges her mistakes and can change, shouldn't I give her a chance? I recalled the humiliating things she said to me in the previous life, and her indifference when she brought Liam home. But now she looks so pained, so sincere. Is this genuine change or a more sophisticated performance? I don't know how to judge anymore. That night when I got home, I saw a letter on the coffee table. It was written by Sophia. I opened the letter and saw her graceful handwriting. Ethan, I know you're feeling conflicted right now, unsure whether you should trust me. I understand how you feel because I did hurt your trust. I want to tell you one thing. From the day we got married, I have had no physical contact with Liam. I kept my purity for you because I know the one I love is you. I know this cannot make up for my mistakes, but I want you to know that in my heart, you have always been my one and only man. If you're willing to give me a chance, I will spend the rest of my life proving my sincerity. If you are not, I will respect your decision. But no matter what, I want you to know that falling in love with you is the best thing I have ever done in my life. Always yours, Sophia. I finished reading the letter, feeling even more conflicted. How much of what she said was true? Should I really give her a chance? That night, I was sleepless again. A week later, Sophia was discharged. When I went to pick her up, she had already packed her things and was waiting for me. Thank you for coming to get me. When she saw me, a long-missed smile appeared on her face. Where are you planning to live? I asked. I rented a small apartment downtown, Sophia said, not far from your company. I nodded and drove her to her new place. On the way, Sophia took the initiative to speak. Ethan, I've been thinking a lot this week. What about? I think I know where our problem lies. She looked out the window. I feel we need to start over. Start over. Ich glänzte her. Yes. Sophia turned to look at me. We can get to know each other again, fall in love again, rebuild trust. Sophia, it's not as simple as you think, I said. Some wounds can't be erased. I know. She nodded. But I'm willing to try. Ethan, can you give me this chance? I was silent for a while. I can give you a chance. I finally said, but on one condition. What condition? Say it. I'll agree to anything. Sophia said eagerly. First, you have to pay me back that $500,000. I said, to prove you're not doing this for the money. All right, I'll return it right away. Sophia agreed without hesitation. Second, you must cut off all ties with Liam. I've already done that, she said. I've deleted all his contact information. Third, you must be completely honest with me, with no more secrets. I promise, Sophia said solemnly. The last condition, I said, looking at her, if I find out you deceive me again, it will be over forever. I understand. Sophia nodded. Ethan, I won't let you down. We arrived at our new place, a very simple one-bedroom apartment. The house is small, but it's enough for me, Sophia said somewhat bashfully. I looked around the room. It was indeed very humble, a far cry from the luxurious apartment we used to live in. Are you comfortable living here? I asked. I am, Sophia said with a smile. Ethan, I've found that material conditions really aren't important to me. What matters is having someone you love in your heart. Her words warmed my heart. Sophia, let's take it slow, I said. Rebuilding trust takes time. I know. She looked at me. So what are we now? Friends. I thought for a moment and said, let's start as friends. All right. Sophia smiled. Then let's reintroduce ourselves. Hello. My name is Sophia Taylor. Nice to meet you. She reached out her hand. I looked at her sincere smile, and the iceberg in my heart began to thaw. Hello. My name is Ethan. I took her hand. Nice to meet you too. From that day on, we began a new way of interacting. Sophia no longer clung to me like before, but kept an appropriate distance. She would text to ask about my work, but wouldn't pry into too many personal matters. She also did repay the $500,000 to me, not a cent less. Ethan, I've already transferred the money to you, she told me on the phone. Also, I found a job. What job? I asked. I'm a designer at an advertising agency, Sophia said. The pay isn't high, but it's enough to support myself. Why are you looking for a job? I was a bit surprised. Because I want to prove to you that I can live independently and don't need to rely on anyone. Her voice was firm. Ethan, I want to be a woman worthy of you. Her words moved me deeply. 2 months passed, and Sophia had indeed changed a lot. She became independent and strong, no longer as willful as before. She would bring me late-night snacks when I worked overtime, but she wouldn't insist I keep her company. She would comfort me when I was in a bad mood, but she wouldn't pry into the reasons. Most importantly, she became very genuine. She no longer tried to ingratiate herself with me, but showed her true self. Ethan, I learned a new dish today. Do you want to come and try it? She said on the phone. All right, I agreed. When I arrived at her apartment, I found a few simple dishes on the table, but they looked thoughtfully prepared. My cooking isn't good. You'll have to make do. Sophia said a bit nervously. I took a bite. It did taste so, but I could feel her sincerity. It's delicious, I said. Really? Sophia laughed happily. Then I'll make it for you often from now on. Seeing her so happy, I felt a warmth in my heart. This Sophia reminded me of the beautiful early days. Sophia, I'll ask you a question. I put down my fork. Have you ever regretted it? Regret what? Regretted getting me through deception. Regretted making our relationship so complicated. Sophia was silent for a moment. I regret deceiving you, but I don't regret falling in love with you. She looked at me. Ethan, if time could be turned back, I would choose to pursue you honestly, but I wouldn't choose not to love you. Her words sent a jolt through my heart. Even knowing it would end like this? Even knowing? Sophia nodded. Because falling in love with you is the happiest thing that's happened to me in this life. Even if the happiness is brief, I wouldn't want to miss it. I looked at her sincere eyes, and the last line of defense in my heart began to loosen. Maybe I should truly give her a chance. Sophia, if we get back together, can you promise there will be no more lies? I asked. I promise, she said excitedly. Ethan, I swear, from now on I will never lie to you again. All right then. I stood up and walked to her. Sophia, will you be my girlfriend? She froze, and then tears welled up instantly. Are you serious? She asked, trembling. I'm serious. I looked at her. But we have to start over. Everything from before is in the past. Okay, I am willing. Sophia cried as she threw herself into my arms. Ethan, thank you for giving me a chance. I held her, my heart a mix of emotions. Maybe this decision is right, maybe it's wrong, but I decided to believe in the power of love. Sophia, this is our new beginning, I whispered in her ear. Don't let me down. I won't, she held me tight. Ethan, I will love you for a lifetime. I will spend my life proving my sincerity. From that day on, we officially began a new romantic relationship. Sophia began to cherish our relationship more and worked hard to do what a good girlfriend should do. A year later, my company rapidly grew and prospered thanks to cooperation with the Johnson Group, becoming a well-known enterprise in the industry. Sophia was also thriving at the advertising agency, becoming an outstanding designer. We each shone brightly on our respective paths, and at the same time our journey in love grew steadier and steadier. "Ethan, let's get married." One sunny weekend, Sophia suddenly said to me, "Are you sure?" I looked at her. "No regrets." "I've never been more sure." Sophia held my hand. "Ethan, I want to spend my life with you." I looked at her sincere eyes, my heart full of warmth. "All right, let's get married." I nodded. "But this time, we must have a perfect wedding." "Really?" Sophia jumped up with joy. "Ethan, I love you." "I love you too." I held her. "Sophia, this time we're going to be happy forever." "We will," she whispered in my ear, "because we've both learned to cherish each other." Yes, after going through so many twists and turns, we both learned to cherish. We cherished each other in this hard-won love. 6 months later, we held a grand wedding. Sophia wore a white wedding dress, so beautiful it made my heart ache. "Ethan, thank you for giving me a second chance," she said to me as we exchanged rings. "I will spend my life repaying your trust." "Sophia, we both have a second chance," I said as I put the ring on her. "Let's cherish it." From then on, we lived a truly happy life. No deceit, no secrets, only sincerity between us.